Put a bit of elbow grease into it, Fred. Look as though you're enjoying it.
Well, I'm not enjoying it, am I? I was employed here as a flipping barman. Not a part-time car wash.
Well, tell her that.
Oh, well, no danger.
When?
In my own good time.
She has you under, Fred. She only has to crook a little finger and she's got you doing somersaults like a trained dog.
Rubbish.
Yes, it is a good idea, isn't it? Came to me straight out of a cold grey sky. Well, I thought it'd be a tonic for all of us, and we certainly need one at this time of the year, don't we? I know I do. Do you know, dear, January is the blackest month of the year for me. My spirits are the lowest ebb. Exactly. Look round the shops, bite to eat and a breath of sea air. They're all there at Southport. Yes. No, we'll go in my car. No, dear, no, I insist. I mean, it isn't very far to Southport and the roads will be clear.
Morning, Mrs. Walker.
Yes. No, I'll pick you up.
See your face in it, can you? Still, you wouldn't want to, would you?
Do you know any pubs round here where I could get a job that don't employ a comic barmaid?
I doubt it, Chuck. You see, it's one of the qualifications. That, with good looks, a good figure and a breathtaking personality.
All right, what are you doing here then?
Now, Fred, that's repartee. You're not supposed to be bright enough for repartee.
I'm bright enough to give you a thick ear, my old cocksparrow.
Oh, Fred, you're so virile. So inflammable, they should make you carry a fire extinguisher around with you.
Oh, get lost, Lynch.
Hey, you know why she's got you to clean car, don't you?
I'm always cleaning that flipping car, aren't I? There'll be no polish left, just metal. Just a thin film of polish, that's all it'll be.
She's taking some mates of hers from the lady victuallers to Southport.
Well, I've got news for her. She's not going to Southport. The M.O.T's overdue. I've just noticed, look.
Finished, are you, Fred? All sleek and shiny is she, like the predatory beast she is.
Well, there's no point in finishing her off, Mrs. Walker. She needs an M.O.T.
Pardon?
It's like having a medical for a human, Mrs. Walker.
I know what an M.O.T. test is. And when will she need this test?
Well, now, today, it's overdue.
Oh, really, Fred? And you've let it get overdue?
Me? Well, it's not my car, Mrs. Walker.
Now, what has that got to do with it? I mean, you are the man of the house, aren't you? And M.O.T. tests, well, they're strictly a masculine province, like dubbing.
Eh?
Dubbing, vet, dubbing. Oh. So you'll arrange for this test, will you?
Me?
Well, you don't expect me to do it, do you?
Well, it is a masculine province, isn't it, Mrs. Walker?
Yes, of course. Well, Fred?
Well, I suppose I could try.
Ah, now, I'm sure you can do more than that. I'm sure that you can accomplish it.
Well, I'll see what I can do this week.
Not this week, Fred. Today. I need the car tomorrow. I promised to take some friends to Southport. So it's a question of face, as the Orientals say. Now, you wouldn't like me to lose face, would you, Fred?
No.
Thank you.
You look like somebody's just come up behind you with a blow lamp.
I'll walk out again, you know. I will.
But not until you've given her M.O.T. You know what they'd have called you in olden times, Fred?
Go on.
Handmaiden.
Oh, you'll knock him dead in that.
I hope so.
Well, I'd take money on it. No chance. It's the wrong colour and it doesn't suit her.
Why didn't you tell her that?
What, lose a sale? You must be joking. It is my function to sell, not to educate. We want our heads examined, though, don't we?
Speak for yourself.
Well, you know what this shop represents, don't you?
Yeah. Part of Mike Baldwin's rotten fortune and death from 1,000 aches to me feet.
Then why don't you wear sensible shoes? They're like oil platforms. Which brings me to what I was going to say. What are you going to ask me what I was going to say?
What were you going to say?
This shop represents the female need to decorate herself for the pleasure of the male. It has got nothing to do with keeping dry and warm, which is what clothes are for. So it upsets me.
Listen who's talking. You won't fetch the milk in without your makeup on.
Well, I'm going to be different. I'm going to go natural.
I don't think your skin could stand the shock of fresh air.
Hi.
Hi, Steve. To what do we owe the pleasure?
Before you answer that question, tell me something. I know you like me smart and sophisticated, like what I am. But would you still like me if I was, well, windblown and natural?
Well, I'd like you anyway, Susie.
You are very boring, Stephen Fisher. Very, very boring.
Well, you asked me a question, I give you an answer.
Ignore her, Steve. She's just in one of her daily moods.
I am not in one of my moods. It's in what's being boring. Ask anyone, they'll tell you the same thing. Stephen Fisher is dead boring.
Oh, you can be cruel.
I'm being cruel to be kind. I'm trying to stop you from being a young, boring person and becoming an old, boring person. Will you stop being boring, Steve?
Ignore her, Steve. She's a pig.
Well, how's this for starters?
What?
I'm talking to Susie.
What?
I'm going for a new job. I'm going for an interview this dinner time.
What interview?
As an electrician at Bristow's Dairy.
Well, that's what you are, isn't it, an electrician?
Well, electrical engineer.
Well, you'll be doing what you want to do, won't you?
That's right.
Well, I hope you get it, don't you, Dale? Yeah, of course.
Oh, what are you up to?
I'm looking for the paper.
You have to turn the place upside down.
Well, I wasn't aware that I was.
Well, it's in kitchen cupboard.
But that's where we keep the old papers.
Yeah, I know.
Well, I'm looking for today's paper.
How you said it's in kitchen cupboard?
What, with the old papers?
Right.
Why?
You know you're worse than that woman at Corner Shop for asking questions. Because I don't want the place to look untidy.
One daily newspaper would make the place look untidy.
Yeah.
Oh. Uncle Albert.
What?
You're not getting obsessive about it, are you?
You what?
About housework. I mean, it's not uncommon with housewives, you know. Not much on their minds in the house all day. The house becomes a focal point of their entire lives, and they can't bear it to get untidy or dirty. Even make people take their shoes off when they come inside the door. You know, I started to get worried about you when you bought those 2 new pinafores last week.
Well, they were a bargain. 10p a piece at Baptist Jumble Sale. And they stopped baking flat from splashing on my cardigan.
Yes, but did they have to have forget-me-nots around the edges, Uncle Albert?
Look, Sally's coming today and I want this place to look tidy. What's wrong with that?
Sally?
Yeah, Miss Chiropodist.
Oh, that's Sally.
Why, how many Sallys do you know?
Oh, I don't know. There's Sally of our alley and Sally of the Sally Army.
Oh, heck, there's no talking to you these days.
Just trying to cheer you up, Uncle Albert. Put a little smile into your dull domestic routine, like a good husband should when he comes home from work.
I don't know why I waste my time looking after your interests, but I do. And a lot more than what you realise. And one of these days you're going to say thank you.
That's a very cryptic remark, Uncle Albert.
Now, look, pal, you're sure you can manage it today? I mean, I don't want to bring around and... Oh, right, well, look, I'll be round in about quarter of an hour, eh? Hey, and I say, pal, thanks very much. You've done me a favour. See ya. Hey, Beth.
Well, that's the problem, isn't it?
I've managed it.
I should hope so. You've been on that phone half an hour.
Treble Cox in Gorton Street. Little mum that outfit.
Save your bacon.
Rubbish, I'm doing her a favour, aren't I?
You were scared rotten you couldn't get that car tested because you knew she would have had your guts for garters. In fact, you're still sweating with fear now. There's little beads of it standing on your nut like you've been out in the rain.
That car's not my responsibility.
Well, for something what's not your responsibility, you spend an awful lot of time looking after it.
Not anymore, sunshine. Not anymore.
Sheesh. Fellas.
What's that?
I'm just saying, fellas.
Yeah, marvellous, aren't we?
If you weren't so conceited, Baldwin, you would have noticed that the way I said fellas contained a certain contempt.
What is it? What a piece of work is man. How noble, in reason. Now, there's no mention of women there, darling.
Who wrote that? A fella?
Now, when you going to be satisfied?
Come again?
Well, you got sex discrimination, right? Equal pay, women working on building sites. Now, when are you going to call it a truce?
Never, mate. You listen to these women's libbers on telly and that. They want the lot. The keys of the kingdom. They'll only be satisfied when they're ruling the roost.
And shall I tell you something, Raymond? The way you fellas run your business, it won't be very long before we do.
Yeah.
Yes, ladies.
Elsie.
Yes, love. With you, I'll have half a lager, please.
I didn't mean... Oh, I see. I've been had for a mug, have I?
I don't call it being had for a mug. Buying somebody a drink once every blue moon. Especially when they buy you one every day. And that goes for Madam there and all.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Kids do tend to take advantage of their elders, Elsie. It's a well-known fact.
Would you like a thick ear?
What do you two want?
2 bitter lemons if I'm paying.
Elsie, do folk ever think we're your daughters?
Yeah.
Why should they?
Well, we're together a lot.
Well, in future, when you're out with me, walk 10 paces behind.
Oh, you'd miss us if we left you.
And what?
We keep you young, keep you in touch with the modern world.
Yeah, well, I can do that by reading the papers.
Oh, yeah, but just think if folk did think we were your daughters. Think of all the reflected glory you'd get from having 2 such attractive girls.
I get a lot of reflected sympathy and all for having such a couple of right daisies.
Either you two seen young Steve in the last hour? I seem to have lost him.
Have you forgotten he's gone for that interview?
Interview? What interview?
You know that... Oh, you didn't know, did you?
What interview?
He's gone for an interview to Bristow's Dairy to be an electrician.
Another job? And he goes in his present employer's time? And the only person he doesn't tell is his present employer. Charming. Bloody charming.
You and your big mouth.
Well, I didn't know he hadn't told Mike, did I?
Well, I hope that lad gets the job, love, because he's certainly lost the one he's got. And you wonder that I'm not chuffed when people think you're my daughters.
2 bitter lemons and 1 lager. Don't tell me. You've all just heard you've gone up a size.
Fred?
Oh, hello.
Hey, you've not flogged it, have you?
What?
Mrs. Walker's car. I mean, I saw you drive away in it, now you're on Shanks's pony. Hey, you've not had an accident, have you?
Accident? Have I eckers like had an accident?
No.
Oh, no, it's a real stuff.
Hey, have you a minute, Bet?
Why are you looking as though the Rosses are after you, Fred?
Where's Mrs. Walker?
What do you want to know for?
She's not passed.
Who's not passed?
She, flaming car.
Fred, you're getting as bad as her. That car is a hulk of metal, not a human being. It's an it, I'm a she. Not passed.
No.
What's up with it?
Wants a new shock absorber and a new silencer.
Well, she wants it tomorrow.
I know.
Well, you're in trouble then, aren't you?
Why should I be in trouble? It's not my flipping car.
Because, Fred, life is very unfair. And also because Mrs. Walker sincerely believes that any misfortune or hiccup in her life is somebody else's fault. In this case, yours.
Ah, well, I'm going to put her straight about that car once and for all.
I am not going to feel guilty. I absolutely refuse to feel guilty.
You ought to shoot yourself.
Well, how did I know he was going to slope off without telling Mike?
You just don't think, do you? You just open your mouth straight in. You just don't
Well,
think.
trust you to take his part.
Well, at least have the grace to admit you're wrong.
Well, I suppose I could have been a bit more discreet.
A bit more discreet. You do realise Steve lost his job, so if he doesn't get the one he's gone for...
He's on the dole, so he keeps saying. The trouble is, he doesn't seem electrical engineering type to me. What was that?
Someone's coming.
Hey, what if it's...
Well, hello there.
It's you?
What are you expecting, Bruce Forsyth?
How did you get on with the job?
Well, they were so impressed with me that they were, what's the word? Agog. Yeah, that's it. They were agog.
Oh, I am glad. I really am, aren't you, Gail?
Yeah, me too.
Well, we said you'd get it. We said all along. We said you'd walk it.
Oh, we did.
Well, Stevie Wonder always calling you that.
You were calling me the biggest bore in the entire universe a couple of hours since.
Well, that was then, and this is now.
And never the twain shall meet.
Exactly.
Because if they do, you might end up with a broken jaw.
She's rambling, Steve. She's so overcome by your success, just like I am.
Well, I haven't actually got the job, you know.
Oh?
No, it depends.
What on?
Well, on what sort of reference Mr. Baldwin gives me. You see, there's another lad in for it as well, and we've got about the same qualifications. But if Mr. Baldwin gives me a really good reference... What's wrong?
Nothing. You've gone a very funny colour, kid, for someone who's got nothing wrong with them.
The street settled down, is it? Things got back to normal?
Normal?
Well, you know, after the murder, his funeral.
Oh, that. Oh, well, life goes on, you know.
It's amazing how it does sometimes.
Yeah. Look how we got over it first lot. The cream of this country's manhood slaughtered, and yet we survived. Well, after a fashion.
I put it all down to you, Mr. Tatlock.
What do you mean you put it down to me?
Well, you survived, didn't you? The country obviously took heart. Decided there were hope after all, squared its stiff upper lip and pulled itself together.
Look, it's not funny.
I'm not for a minute suggesting it is.
I'll tell you something. We wouldn't have been in the mess we are today if them lads had lived. Not with half this country's folk nowadays, not wanting to do any work at all.
That's a bit of a sweeping statement, Mr. Tatlock.
Oh, it's Uncle Albert's speciality, the sweeping statement, isn't it, Uncle Albert? He's a sort of Lord High Admiral of the sweeping statement.
Now, there is a perfect example of what I mean. He's completely wasting his life and thinks he's being clever.
Ignore him, and he might just disappear inside his own grumpiness. Oh, you must be Sally the Chiropodist.
And you're Kenneth the...
Community Development Officer. We met last week, well, just about.
Isn't passing.
Well, to stand on ceremony, pleased to meet you.
Pleased to meet you.
You know, you surprised me.
I'm sorry about the two heads.
Yeah. Then again, what's a chiropodist supposed to look like? I've never actually seen one before.
Well, you know how dog owners are supposed to grow to look like their dogs? It's been said the chiropodists often start looking like...
Not a bunion.
Right first time.
Well, you must be the exception that proves the rule.
Of course.
Look, when you two are finished, what do you want?
Want? Oh, yeah, I left my watch in the bathroom. I was just completely lost without it.
I know what you mean.
Right, well, I'll probably see you again then.
If you're unlucky.
Bye.
You know, he's not quite as daft as he seems.
That a fact.
Yeah, he just wants somebody to put him in the right direction. He doesn't know what's good for him.
Really?
Hey, what about having a cup of tea?
No, I haven't
Look,
time.
it won't take a minute. Kettle's just boiled.
All right.
Uncle Albert?
He's making tea.
Oh, is he? I wouldn't mind a cup.
Well, I'm making you one, aren't I?
Telepathic.
Apparently.
Hey, up, Langton, you still here? You giving up work or what?
Am I still here? What do you think, Bet?
Well, they do say that you can see that much of folk, that they cease to exist. We see a terrible lot of you in here.
You do that.
You know, it's funny, isn't it? You can stand that long in a pub that you sort of take root, don't
It
you?
happens to him all the time.
Yeah. All right, I can second him. Where's my best girl?
She's with Renee Bradshaw. She'll be working her way through fancy cakes dinner.
I wish I could and still face the
Oh,
world.
me too.
Well, come on, Langton. I'll let you walk me home. We're going the same way. And there's not many people about at this time of day.
Oh. Are you stopping?
Of course I am. I've done my work for the day, most of it anyway.
You know, you should come back to that yard full time before you start getting into trouble.
Come on.
Chance to be a fine thing, eh,
Don't go
kid?
putting ideas in my head.
You having a drink?
Yeah, go on. I'll have a double sherry. Pretend I'm on my yacht instead of waiting for washing to dry.
That's it. You be a devil.
Will you have one with me?
Oh. Can you afford a whiskey?
Yeah, just about.
Hey, how long is it now?
What?
Since you wed Ray?
Oh, 2 years. Our Tracy's one tomorrow.
Oh, is she? I'll have to get her some little thing.
Oh, there's no need.
Try and stop me.
Cheers.
Has it seemed a long 2 years?
No.
No. I didn't think it had. And I'm such a pig. It just shows, doesn't it?
What?
I'm not sure, actually.
Well, I think they call it love, for want of a better word.
That's what we call it, us women.
Well, sex then, magnetism, lust.
There is something in it, though, isn't there?
Oh, yeah. And it helps if you get in the same bed every night.
I can imagine.
Hey, no sign of her yet.
Fred, I do wish you'd stop interrupting. Me and Deirdre were having a very beautiful discussion.
Oh, aye. Subject normal.
You're a cynic, Frederick. You know that.
Well, I'm going to tell her. It's no skin off my nose if that flipping car never runs again.
Is that why you feel the need for all this Dutch courage, then?
Ha ha.
Yeah?
Can you spare a minute, Mr. Baldwin? Mr. Baldwin?
I was just looking at you in case I missed something.
Miss Summit?
Yeah, something in your face I should have noticed. Your eyes. No. No, they still look as honest as they always have. Just goes to show you, doesn't it?
Oh, as a matter of fact, that's good.
What is?
What are you thinking I'm honest?
I didn't exactly
Because
say that.
I've got the chance of another job as an electrical engineer, which is what I am. Well, you know that, don't you? But, well, I need a reference from my present employer, which is you. And if you think I'm honest, well, it's a good start, isn't it? Also, if you think I'm intelligent, hard-working, reliable, you know, all them sort of words.
Hard-working, reliable.
Yeah.
That's what you want me to put in the reference, is it?
Yeah, because it's true, isn't it?
All right, Steve. I'll give you a reference. Come back later, will you?
Oh, thanks, Mr. Baldwin. Thanks very much.
Now, I know what us old uns are supposed to do in winter. Wear plenty of warm clothes, especially woolens. Keep one room warm all the time and sleep in it. Shift the bed away from the outside wall and have at least one hot meal a day.
Full marks, Mr. Tatlock.
Yeah, but that's living in ideal condition, isn't it? Suppose you can't afford to keep a room warm or buy any woolens. Suppose you haven't got the strength to cook a meal.
Then you contact the town hall and tell them your problem.
Well, that's asking for charity again.
Yeah, well, it's better than dying of cold.
Of course it is.
And you're entitled to some help at your age, more so than a lot of people.
Here, here.
Well, you two have got one thing in common if it's not with old folk.
Actually, I'm dying to look at Ken's feet, Mr. Tatlock. They're great character guides of feet.
Yeah, well, I'll keep my feet to myself if you don't mind. I'm not a feet exhibitionist like some people I could name.
I must be going.
Right, I'll see you out.
There are corns pulsating painfully all over town, waiting for me to deal with them. I'll see you next week, Mr.
I
Tatlock.
hope so.
Bye, Ken.
Bye.
I bet you've got some very nice feet.
Yeah, they're stunning, actually.
Bye.
Bye.
Thanks for the tea.
She's nice, isn't she?
Very.
She's single and all.
Really? Right, well, I'll be off then, Uncle Albert. I'll see you about tea time.
I said she's single and all.
two think?
All the same.
I'm sorry I'm so late, dear, but you know how it is. One thing leads to another. I bumped into Aubrey Barclay in the hairdressers, and she absolutely insisted that I went to the county for afternoon tea.
You can't refuse, can you?
No. Especially when you have a trusted team holding the fort back home. You haven't missed me too much, have you?
I've not missed you at all, Mrs. Walker. No, it's Fred who's been pining away for you. Isn't that right, Fred?
What happened about the car, Fred? I half expected to see her outside, but I suppose you've garaged her, have you?
Well, she's in a garage, Mrs. Walker, yes, but not yours.
Oh.
Well, she's where I took her for her M.O.T.
What?
Well, she didn't pass, Mrs. Walker. She, well, I mean it, needs a new shock absorber and a new silencer.
But I'm going to Southport in her tomorrow, Fred. Oh, really, Fred? Now, I do think you have been very remiss, if not downright negligent, letting her get into that state of despair. So, kindly attend to whatever ails her and have her outside at the front door at lunchtime tomorrow, simply beaming with good health.
You know, Fred, I don't know why you don't just call yourself a chauffeur, and I've done with it.
I might as well flip him, B.
We are not going home, Gail. If we do, we'll end up in front of that telly and Bango's another evening. We'll have a drink here and... Oh, hello, Steve.
Hello, Steve. What are you doing here at this time?
So pale and lonely loitering.
What's up? Didn't you get your reference?
Oh, I got it all right.
So why the face like a welly?
Here, read it. Go on, read it.
To whom it may concern. Stephen Fisher has been in my employment for the past 6 months. Normally, this would have been ample time in which to assess an employee's worth. But this is not so in Stephen's case. He is promising enough, but I would prefer longer before coming to any firm conclusions as to whether that promise will develop into actual achievement.
I'm not going to get the job with that. Am I?
You're not?
More from the street at 6:30 tomorrow evening. Coming up on Plus, Maggie Forbes dealing with the dangerous gunman and the reappearance of an old friend, all in the gentle touch after the break.